Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Calf Kick MMA podcast. We are your host. I'm Jamie. Across the screen from me, that creature over there is called Creole. Creole, you ready to talk MMA?
Yes, I am. Let's do this. Got a lot to talk about
What?
today.
No patented Creole. Hello. Well, anyway, this is the podcast where it was going to happen anyway. This little Creole fellow was going to call me and go, "Man, did you see the weigh-ins?" And I was going to go, "Yep." And then we're going to talk MMA. So now we record it and we throw it up on the internet for your viewing pleasure. And boy, we have a lot to talk about this week. We have UFC 260 tonight. It's going to be the big time heavyweight main event for the heavyweight world championship. Last week was our preview show. Creole, has anything through the week with the weigh-ins and the press conferences and the interviews changed your opinion on anything on this card?
I did watch the embedded. Gave me a little bit more perspective on Stipe. UFC trying to make Stipe like super. He's always been likable, but UFC's trying super hard on like make him like a lot more likable to the fans, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think Stipe, he's always been pretty funny, little cringy sometimes, but now they've always preached that he's the firefighter with the day job, who is also the world heavyweight champion, and they don't give him no slack at the firehouse. They make him scrub the toilets and the floors and all that. Did you see anything that changed your pick on that main event?
Not really. Like if it goes the same like the last fight, then cool. That's kind of what we all expect. But my heart really wants Francis Ngannou to win. It's time for a new champion. Him and Dan Cormier been passing that belt around. Like it feels like the last 6 years. They've been the only two champions.
Yep. So what I was talking about in the previous show, Stipe should probably come, again in the best shape of his life, which I think he has. Since the Cormier trilogy fight, he lost 10 pounds. He came in at like 230 for the Cormier fight and put on the performance of his life, much better than his first two outings against Daniel Cormier. Sticking and moving and just seemed way more mobile. And I think Stipe's looking good again. His body's looking great. I think he's talking good. I've seen some comments that, kind of referencing to maybe CTE or stuff, but I think that's just the way Stipe talks. His accent, he talks fast. He's a kind of, an anxious guy. So I don't know. We'll see if he can take as much damage, but I think he's looking to take less damage by being more mobile.
Yeah.
He's going to be sticking and moving, and he may put on a clinic tonight. But he's got to dodge pretty much everything Ngannou's going to throw at him.
Did you see the press conference?
Press conference. I believe I watched some of it.
There was one specific question where one of the interviewers were pretty much like, so if Stipe loses, will he get an immediate rematch? And Dana White did the longest pause ever and just was like, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely not. Stipe ain't getting a rematch till they said Jones is next, so they're definitely not going to make Jones wait any longer unless they made him fight Derek Lewis, but pretty sure they won't. If Ngannou won, they would love Ngannou versus Jones. No, I don't think UFC's the biggest fans of Stipe. He seems to not be the superstar that they want him to be, but he is one of the undisputed greatest heavyweight champions of all time. For some reason, they're marketing of him, Stipe. I don't know. He seems not to be the biggest star ever. They would definitely rather Ngannou and Jones go at it.
Derek Lewis doesn't want that fight with John Jones, and I don't want to see that fight against John Jones.
Derek Lewis wants that fight. Derek Lewis wants all the fights. That's a big money fight. Derek Lewis wants it. Don't you put those words in Derek Lewis's mouth. He'll gladly fight John Jones, and I think you'd be surprised.
Do you want to see that fight?
Yeah, I want to see that fight. He's a big, super heavyweight. He can knock anybody out. He's got takedown defense for days. Let's do it. Jones, Lewis should be the fight.
First round submission, John Jones.
You're probably right. But I'm a defend my dude Derek Lewis.
I mean, I'm gonna root for Derek Lewis. Just it's gonna be hard to watch. Derek Lewis gonna
hopefully at least he gets paid.
Derek Lewis is gonna wind up looking like Lyoto Machida against John Jones.
Mm-hmm. But that fight's not happening, and it's probably not going to happen until further down the line. But yeah, I think Stipe's looking good. Ngannou looks good. It all depends, if Ngannou has made the improvements, adjustments. If he stays calm in this fight, it's 5 rounds. And Stipe, both men look like they're in the best shape of their life. It's going to be a really interesting fight. I'm not changing my pick either. I'm still going to go with Ngannou because Stipe has to put on the performance of his life. Ngannou just has to land one punch. So
yeah, I see it being a lot more methodical. Like I see if for instance Ngannou like hits him and Stipe falls, he's gonna back up and let him get up. I don't see him running to the ground and like doing what he did last time. Do you remember that like the first Stipe and Francis Ngannou? I remember Francis winning the first 2 rounds.
No, he only won the first round.
Yeah, when they did the highlights of that, the UFC did the highlights of the embedded of that first fight, and they had Stipe dominating like all 5 rounds, and I was like, I remember this fight going a little bit more differently, but yeah, I was like, what? I could have swore Francis got like a couple hits in, like big time.
Yeah, I don't see how he doesn't win the first round. I'd have to rewatch it, but yeah, I'm looking at the scorecard, and it's 50-44. There was a 10-8 round, probably the fourth round. Miocic's, after the first round, he was completely dominant. Francis left it all on the table in that first round, emptied the gas tank with some crazy just looping punches that I do remember Stipe fighting back the first round. He might have stole it. Apparently he did. We definitely have to go back and rewatch that one.
Yeah.
Tyrone Woodley. I like the way Tyrone Woodley's been talking this week. He knows it's been all mental. He knows he hasn't been getting finished in fights. And he knows this is probably his last chance, and he's got to put it all on the line against Vicente Luque. Again, though, I'm not changing my pick. Still going with Luque because we have to see it, to appreciate it. And so far, he had 3 fights to change it around. He did lose to the top 3 contenders in the division and the champion. And he's got to prove it tonight. But I do like the way he's been talking. Have you listened to him any?
I just saw like 2 or 3 questions. I didn't sit down and watch the whole entire thing. It was mainly like if you listen to this fight, I mean, if you lose this fight, like you're probably gonna get cut. And he was like, yeah, like I'm probably gonna get cut.
Yeah, and something we forgot to mention last week is we lost the co-main event, which was going to be a fantastic fight with Volkanovski and Ortega. Volkanovski testing positive for COVID-19, but even without that fight, it's still a great card.
Yeah, it's still a stacked card.
Deal. I won't say stacked, but it feels like an old school UFC card. Remember when an old school UFC card used to be the championship fight main event? Then you'd have a big co-main event, and the big co-main event wouldn't be for a championship. It'd just be a high contender fight.
Yeah.
And we have the former champion Tyrone Woodley trying to, get back to his winning ways. This would have been a big time, countdown storyline 10 years ago. Tyrone Woodley would have had a bunch of media, been all over the countdowns and embeddeds. And going into the next fight with Sean O'Malley and Thomas Almeida, this is the big rising contender fight. So this used to be what cards looked like. It'd be the championship fight, the big, kind of number 1 contenders, top 5 fight, and then there'd be like a rising star fight, which is the O'Malley Almeida, and then there'd just be all the other fights.
Yeah, you talking about the Zuffa era?
Yep, old school Zuffa era. Like there's one card like UFC 73, like it's called Stacked. and it pretty much looked like this card, and that was like a super, stacked card enough where they called the pay-per-view stacked back in the day. UFC 73 stacked was Anderson Silva, Nate Marquardt for the championship. That's the only championship fight, and this card was literally called stacked. And the co-main is Tito Ortiz versus Rashad Evans. So that was the former champion Tito Ortiz trying to get a win back. He doesn't do it against Sean Evans. And then, I was wrong. There is 2 championship fights on this. Sean Shirt won the vacant lightweight championship against Hermes Franca. So that was the return of the lightweight division. This was a pretty big card. Okay, never mind. I was wrong.
But, was that the vacant? Was that because
the
BJ Penn flew out to Japan to go fight Lyoto Machida?
BJ Penn went to welterweight, beat Matt Hughes.
Okay.
And then the UFC was like, no BJ Penn at lightweight. We don't need this division. Shut it down. Because our boy, Thug Jitsu master Eve Edwards, should have been the UFC lightweight champion. And he's, always been the uncrowned lightweight champion.
Yeah.
Because they canceled the division. So they did, our Thug Jitsu guy dirty back in the day. And they're doing, Dustin Poirier once again. They don't want a Thug Jitsu guy to be champion, apparently. But it is Dustin Poirier's choice. He could fight for the belt. He wants to, put an exclamation mark on the Conor trilogy and get that money.
Yeah. Now it's kind of crappy that I guess money's worth way more than the belt, and people are like, cool, I want the money fight instead of the belt. And
the
it's
organization's fault. They should, these champions got to get a cut. The nope fighting Conor is the moneymaker. I mean, he sells the most pay-per-views. It's just the business model. If the only way to change it would be to the championship contract would have to be, like the base pay is like super high.
Yeah.
Like no pay-per-view cuts, just about the base pay. But it's not. It's about pay-per-view cuts. And speaking of Sean O'Malley, Thomas Almeida, our third big fight of the night. Sean O'Malley seems a bit off his rocker this week, talking about his last fight where he got beat by Chico Vera, got hit with a calf kick, and TKO'd. He says he's still undefeated. He is not accepting the loss. Very strange. What you think about that?
I hope Thomas Almeida beats the crap out of him. So later this week, around I think it was Wednesday, told me to go watch the interview with Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
And yeah, I saw that 10-minute interview and I just really disliked Sean O'Malley after that.
Very just terrible excuse. Terrible.
He's really lucky he's like Snoop Dogg's favorite fighter.
Yeah. He's really lucky that I don't think too many people go that deep into the interviews like we do. The hardcores hear Sean O'Malley talking like this, and the casuals might agree with him. I don't know. But anyway, he's saying he got hit with the leg kick, and because Chico Vera's toe caught him in this certain nerve, it shut down his leg. It was a freak injury, and it should not have been counted as a loss, which is ridiculous. If you're not struck to the groin or the eyeball, if that toe doesn't connect in the groin or eyeball, and you drop because of the leg kick and get TKO'd, it's all good. That's called fighting. The whole point of throwing the leg kick is to incapacitate you by throwing the leg kick. So it's very, very strange.
Sean O'Malley disagrees with the concept of fighting, so
he does. If he's not winning by knockout, there's no way he could lose. There's just no way. He's a really young dude, but 26. He's not, delusional young. It's crazy talk. Thomas Almeida, that's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah.
You want to change your pick to Almeida?
Yes, I do.
I'm still gonna go with O'Malley just because he hits so hard, and he is a hype train for the UFC.
Yeah. Also, I know that what Thomas Almeida's coming off like a 3-fight losing streak, I think.
No. He's back in the win column, I believe. Nope. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. 3-fight losing streak. He won 1 of his last 5. Yeah, he's just not been looking great. He got finished by Rob Font. Rob Font is a monster, though. And Cody Garbrandt. That began his kind of skid. He's still only 22-4, though. Still a big threat at bantamweight. He needs a win. He's going to be real dangerous in this fight. So,
it's time for Thomas Almeida to turn it around. This is the fight where he's going to turn it around.
Yep, that could definitely happen. I'll stick with Sean O'Malley though, just because. But ridiculous excuse. No more of that. If you lose, you lose. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's get into some more. That's going to happen tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to do our reaction show, talking about what went down at UFC 260. And we are still, this is still lunchtime, so we got quite a while. But it's going to be awesome. I'm pumped up. It's going to be a good card.
I got a little worried because my ESPN notification on my phone was like, get ready to watch prelims now. And I was like, whoa, what? I was like, looks like I'm missing those prelims. Like, it's like,
yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
But big news this week, because Miesha Tate has
Miesha
announced.
Cupcake Tate.
No cupcake. This is Miesha Tate. She's coming back full force. She just needed a break. She became Cupcake Tate. I think, kind of literally. She's been wrestling since high school. Freshman in high school, she wrestled on the boys team. Till she retired, in competition. So that's a long time to be competing, chasing that gold strap, and just working her way up the ranks. I remember, her winning a one-night tournament in Strikeforce. And that's kind of when I caught, Miesha Tate. That's when I discovered Miesha Tate. I think that was the first time I saw her fight. She had been trying to find who she beat that night, but it was, I guess, let me go to her record. She defeated Hitomi Akino in the finals. It was a one-night tournament. It was awesome. She won 2 decisions in a row. And from that point forward, went on to, that propelled her into the main event. She won the Strikeforce title after that. Lost it to Ronda. She could never figure out the Ronda problem. Ronda was deep in her head. I think that was more mental warfare than anything. And then won the title from Holly Holm, lost to Amanda Nunes, lost to Raquel Pennington, and retired. So what I've learned this week, Dana White was talking about the return of Miesha Tate. So what happened between Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes was Miesha decided she was going to go ahead and fix her nose. So she had nose surgery and then didn't recover. So Amanda Nunes immediately punched her in the nose, and she wilted like a bad vegetable.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't Miesha Tate when she fought Amanda Nunes. Miesha Tate is very durable. Like, she can take more punishment. It is Amanda Nunes though, so no. But that apparently was something I never knew, was she fixed her nose by herself. Dana said, wait till you retire. We'll fix your nose after fighting. And she didn't wait. She went ahead and got surgery and stuff. So she had a compromised nose, which Amanda immediately probably rebroke and put it on the other side of her face. And then after that, she just kind of lost her will as a fighter, just completely burn out in her late 20s, early 30s. Took, working on 5 years off, and now she is back to fight Marion Renault July 17th at UFC Fight Night 192. And she has a 6-fight contract.
And this is Marion Renault's last fight as well.
It is Marion Renault's retirement fight. So Miesha's coming back. Renault is retiring. Very good fight.
Miesha Tate will always have a special place in my heart because the Ultimate Fighter 20 finale, the one where, I think it was 20, the one where Juliana Pena won.
Yep.
I was there and I got to meet Miesha Tate. She's like the sweetest and nicest person ever.
Nice. And you got to meet Juliana. right?
Yeah, I got to meet Juliana Pena, Nate Diaz, because that was the main event was
Gray
Nate
Maynard.
Diaz and Gray Maynard. Yeah, Diaz, Juliana Pena, I met the male who won the Ultimate Fighter. I have no idea where he's at right now.
That was Chris Holdsworth, right?
I'm
Holding
not for
down
sure.
Holdsworth. I think pretty sure Miesha coached Holdsworth and Pena to win
Yeah.
that season. Holdsworth had concussion issues, had to retire.
And then also I met Ronda Rousey. She's a dick.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, she'll always have a special place in my heart, and just like, yeah, she's just super cool girl. Awesome.
I would definitely love to meet Miesha Tate. She's definitely one of my favorite fighters of all time. I don't know. Miesha Tate's awesome. I like her style. She's a grindy wrestler type. I always found her fights to be an exciting wrestling, type fight. She mauled Holly Holm, mauled her. She's very, very, I think, underrated. Even though she's a former champion, I think the more casual MMA fight fan doesn't treat her with enough respect.
If you remember that fight, her and Holly Holm was gonna win the belt. She won a majority of the round. It was straight up like Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. She had like comeback of the year.
Decided to put her on the gas, she mauled her.
I remember her coaches were yelling at her like, "You have to finish this fight, or you're gonna lose by decision." And she went out there.
Maybe you remember that fight differently then. But it was like a pitter pat. It wasn't, Holm was winning, but she wasn't out striking her to the point where she was close to finishing her. Miesha in the second round, I think, was very dominant. She won a 10-8 round in round 2.
Oh, wow.
So she probably lost round 1, 3, and 4. What round? She won in the 5th round, yeah. But she won round 2 very dominantly. I think she mounted her. That's a pretty old fight at this point too. I remember round 2 and round 5. I remember her mauling her.
Oh yeah, then I definitely have to rewatch that fight because I had it. From what I remember, it was Holly Holm dominated that fight, and Miesha Tate sucking that rear naked choke out of nowhere.
Yeah, in the 5th round, she definitely, put the pedal to the metal, got her to the ground. I'm pretty sure she wins round 2, 10-8. I'm pretty sure once it hits the ground, Miesha dominates her. Pretty sure that's how that fight went. And the striking, she's kind of pitter patter. Holly Holm winning, she's the better striker. But Miesha really picking her takedowns wisely in that fight. We'd have to rewatch it. That was in 2016. I just remember the mauling. She gets her in the rear naked choke, mauls her up, gets the strap finally, and then obviously gets her nose done apparently for some reason, and Amanda Nunes plasters it on the other side of her face.
Fight. Also, a little fun fact: Dana White hates that fight between Miesha Tate and Holly Holmes because he wanted Holly Holmes to wait for Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah. He wanted her to wait the whole year so they could have the rematch. That rematch would have been gigantic. But I think Ronda should have came back immediately when Tate won the belt and they had a trilogy.
Yeah.
And Miesha Tate would have put it to her, I think, in a trilogy fight. I think the confidence would have been there. Ronda's confidence would have been down. There'd have been less talking. When she came back, she didn't talk at all. So I think Miesha with a clear head, I think Miesha beats Ronda pretty easily without the mental warfare. But that's part of the art of the war. And, Ronda Rousey completely destroyed Miesha in the head game space. But I am pumped up for Miesha Tate coming back. I think she's got one more run in her. Is she going to win the belt? Probably not. But, the unstoppable Nunes is there as champion. Good luck beating her, but I'm pumped up for Miesha Tate. I think she's going to beat Marion Renault and start this run, her last run at the championship, and I am here for it.
I am too. Hopefully she wins because I always hated the way she went out. Raquel
Yeah.
Pennington destroyed her.
Yeah,
And
she mauled Miesha Tate in a very Miesha Tate kind of fashion.
And Miesha Tate all kind of it was just really sad. Miesha Tate was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, she just wasn't there. She was burnt, completely burnt out. She went through the Ronda fights, won the belt, got knocked out immediately after winning the belt. She'd been competing, like I said, freshman in high school till her late 20s, early 30s. Needed a break, took a long break, had a few kids. Now Mama Tate is back, and she's coming for that strap.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yep. All right, let's move on. I want to bring this up. This happened a week and a half ago, I think. But did you know Leonard Garcia had a bare knuckle boxing match?
So
and Melvin Gillard?
Whoa, I didn't know. Against each other?
No, BKFC 16 on March 19th. Leonard Garcia and Melvin Gillard competed at the event in bare knuckle fighting. Melvin Gillard got finished in 46 seconds, but the ref, when they get dropped, they're supposed to get like a standing 8 count, I think.
Yeah.
The ref just let him get TKO'd MMA style. It was very strange. But he lost. Melvin Gillard lost. Leonard Garcia won in the main event at super welterweight by decision and then retired. So our boy Leonard Garcia finally retiring. Legend. You don't know bad boy Leonard Garcia, look him up. He's fun.
Look at his Strikeforce fights. Don't look at his UFC fights. He didn't do too well in the UFC.
WEC fights.
Yeah, WEC. He didn't do too well in the UFC.
Yeah, but he had some fun.
Yes.
Had some fun. Fight against Nam Fan, Max Holloway, good fights. Chan Sung Jung, he lost to Twister in the rematch. His original Chan Sung Jung fight, amazing fight.
Probably my favorite fight of all time. Yeah. It's definitely top 5. That was if you go back now, sloppiest fight in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so good. So good.
Those were just 2 guys who showed up and said, let's scrap. 2010 fight of the year. WEC 48, Chan Sung Jung and Leonard Garcia was the prelim card headliner, if that's a thing. And boy, if you didn't buy that pay-per-view after that fight, man, that was I think the one and only WEC pay-per-view. And we watched it live. Jose Aldo, Faber, Ben Henderson, Cerrone, Gambirian Brown, Garcia Jung. Amazing night of fights that night.
Yes, man. I'm getting excited now just remembering that fight. I love the hell out of that fight.
Oh yeah,
so good.
But I thought I'd shout out Leonard Garcia retiring after a bare knuckle fight. I loved watching that guy fight. I wish I actually would have caught that. I'm pretty sure it was entertaining.
Have you ever seen a bare knuckle fight?
I have not. I've never looked into how to watch
it. So you can order on the Fight app. It's usually anywhere between $15 to $20. When I got deployed to Iraq, I saw the one where who's the one it was the main event of who did George St. Pierre lose to but won?
That's it?
No, he is a very
who's fought in bare knuckle fighting?
It was George St. Pierre had a 5-round decision fight, and then he kind of retired, and everybody was super upset.
Johnny Hendricks.
Johnny Hendricks. I saw that was my first time watching pay-per-view. It was Johnny Hendricks versus
Cochran.
Yes,
Cochran. Yeah,
and
Dakota, I think.
Cochran beat the hell out of Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, he knocked him out, right?
Yeah, in the co-main event was Phil Baroni. And Phil Baroni got dominated.
Yeah, the MMA legends.
But I like bare knuckle. It's fun.
Yeah.
But also, I know a lot of people kind of don't like it too much because it's fun, but it's also very gory.
Bloody.
Like, yeah, they bleed. I saw the Artem Lobov and Paul Maglione fight.
Yeah.
And that was a brutal fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, but it was brutal. And their faces, like, I'm pretty sure their faces never be the same again.
Yeah, they're gonna have scars for the rest of their life.
It's something that, like, I would have loved to see, like, Prime Vanderlei Silva in.
Oh man,
Just
his face is bad enough now.
it's
facial reconstruction just from MMA.
They're just super fun fights. I like them a lot. They're usually only like 2 hours long. And it's great because it's one of those things where the prelims are like really fun. I really enjoy the prelims a lot because it's just like, it just seems like random nobodies. Like the prelims are just filled up with like nobody who don't have Wikipedia pages.
Right.
And they just I remember the first fight of the John Hendricks card.
Mm-hmm.
It literally looked like they was like, cool, that fighter dropped out. You in the crowd,
bar
come
down
here.
the street. Hey, you want to fight?
Yeah, and that got one. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah, he came out there by himself. It looked like they just wrapped up his. Yeah, nobody came.
It was probably someone's cornerman. It probably really was someone's cornerman. So he didn't have a corner.
And the guy he was fighting had like his whole entire team behind him, had like a banner with his name on it. And got
mollywopped.
I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be terrible.
Only
but it was
in bare knuckle fighting can you see that.
It's really good and it's fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, shout out to Leonard Garcia though.
Shout out to Leonard Garcia, man. Legend. So we're here for UFC Vegas 23 preview. Till versus Vettori. We still have one news topic before that, though. Let's get this out the way. Ben Askren is going to fight Jake Paul. You saw the press conference. What is going on, and what is your prediction for this fight?
So I only saw the co-main event and the main event. It was like a legit press conference that was like an hour and a half. UFC press conference aren't even that long.
Aren't that long, no. 30 minutes.
But I know that because I saw the Tyson and Evander Holyfield exhibition match. I ordered that pay-per-view. And that was fun. I didn't know who Logan Paul was at all. So
right.
I'm not familiar with the Paul brothers at all. Just their names. It seems like it's pretty much them versus the UFC now.
Yep.
Like 100%. And
it's entered the realm where they're going to start fighting real fighters now, and I think they're going to learn real quick that was a bad idea.
One of the Paul brothers knocked out an NBA star, and pretty much like sky's the limit now. The initial fight was supposed to be well, probably not the initial fight, but one of the I think Logan wanted to fight Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
That fight was never gonna happen. I think Logan put up $10 million.
Yeah. No, Conor is not fighting them yet. Let Dustin Poirier beat him one more time. Might happen.
Then
they wanted to. Logan wanted to fight Floyd, and it was scheduled. They were gonna fight, and the pay-per-view pre-sales were garbage, so they pretty much canceled it. I don't think it's gonna happen. But
after that, it was Dylan Dennis.
Jake Paul wants to fight Dennis. He wants to fight the MMA fighters. Logan Paul just wants a spectacle fight. Logan Paul is very bad. He's like 2-0 on his boxing record. Jake Paul's actually winning, so he wants like the real fighters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the storyline there.
Then
Logan knows it's entertainment and wants the spectacle, so he wants to box Floyd Mayweather, and they'll probably work out something where they go decision or draw or something. But Jake Paul thinks he's a real fighter and wants to fight real fighters.
And Jake Paul is fighting Ben Askren, right? Not the other one?
No, Logan Spectacle, Jake Paul, Real Fighters.
Okay, so Jake Paul, after all that went out the way, lo and behold, Ben Askren was like, I'll fight him. So
Ben Askren retired, got him a brand new hip.
Mm-hmm.
He had to retire to, due to surgery and stuff. And now he's like, I'll box this dude for some cash. Not the best striker, but he is an Olympic level athlete. If someone can put together a boxing strategy real quick and, beat a YouTuber, going with Ben Askren.
And Dana White got Freddie Roach to come to Ben Askren's gym and teach him a couple things.
Yeah.
Ben Askren's getting pushed by the UFC super hard, surprisingly.
That's hilarious. After all them years. Hell, even after being, retiring and then letting him go, Dana's like, you can't lose this fight, man.
It seems like
all the money at you. You just can't lose this fight.
It seems like the way Dana White's talking, it just seems that if Ben Askren loses, the UFC's whole entire foundation gets destroyed.
It's very bad. Jake Paul has power, but it still took him 3 rounds to knock out the basketball player who was complete garbage. I mean, didn't have a jab to his name. Ben Askren is going to have a fundamental boxing plan, and I think he's going to execute it to perfection.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg was there, which I'm not looking forward to hear his commentary at all.
Oh boy.
They need to find some get Mario Ronaldo there or something. They need to find
Snoop Dogg, but man, he did Sean O'Malley wonders, but that's the only favor he's ever did to commentate fights is Sean O'Malley.
Just but
talk about Frank Mir.
Yeah, Frank Mir versus Antonio Tarver.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the press conference. They were both super respectful of each other. Both of them had seen each other's fights. They're just the nicest people to each other. It was really good. There was no trash talking. But also, why would there be? Frank Mir's fighting a really good boxer.
Hopefully, Frank Mir is getting paid big time.
So it seems like everybody's getting paid.
Yeah, the Paul brothers have a crazy amount of money and sponsors. So I hope everybody's getting just paid out the wazoo.
Ben Askren said this is the most money he's gonna receive out of all his MMA fights.
Good. If he can get paid and beat Jake Paul, I mean it's gonna be a perfect night for Ben Askren.
It just seems
going back to Jake Paul, he called Jorge Masvidal during the press conference. I saw a clip of that. Did you see that? You're the one who, what the world was that? Did you just launch a snot rocket over there?
No, that was a sneeze.
Good grief.
So the promo was a lot of the promo material was Jorge Masvidal training Jake Paul.
Because of the 4-second knockout, he called old Masvidal. A knee is not boxing, Jake Paul. I hate to tell you, a complete MMA game is not helping you here.
But also, it just seems like Jorge Masvidal is this is super funny.
Yeah. That's what I think too. I'm not putting all the hate on Masvidal because I just think he's this is hilarious. Jake Paul's giving me money to participate, at this at whatever, come hold mitts for him or whatever. I hope he's getting paid too. I'm sure he is. But he's just the hype man at this point. He's just he was like, is Askren still alive over there? He finally woke up. Pretty funny. It's entertaining. But we're both behind Askren, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Both behind Askren. If Frank Mir isn't getting paid, he should pull out right now. Because he is going to get annihilated by Antonio Magic Man Tarver. It's just not even a competition.
His name's Magic Man.
His name's the Magic Man.
All right.
What do you think he's gonna do to Frank Mir's face?
Hopefully Frank Mir wins. I'm rooting for Frank Mir, but also before we started recording, you looked up Antonio Tarver.
He's the man who has fought Hopkins. He's fought Roy Jones Jr. twice and TKO'd Roy Jones Jr. in 2004. That's impressive.
And that was in 2000. That was before Roy Jones Jr. like fell off.
Yeah.
So that was when he was good.
That was Roy Jones Jr. in 2004. Frank Mir's going to get annihilated. Antonio Tarver's 52, but Frank Mir's like 42. 42 in MMA is 52, so they're pretty much the same age. Tarver's going to annihilate him. It's going to be bad.
I'm still going for Frank Mir, but if I was a betting man,
we are the MMA podcast, so we will cast our votes to Frankie Mir.
But if you're a betting man, you should probably go with
don't bet on Frank Mir. Don't put any money towards Frank Mir unless these two gentlemen have a gentleman handshake in the back and they're like, "Let's go to decision, buddy." I hope Frank Mir does that, because don't make Tarver mad at any point in this fight or he's going to knock your head off. It's not good. But let's put all the news behind us, all the shenanigans, the entertainment, and let's preview UFC Las Vegas 23, Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori, and in Israel Adesanya's head. This is the number one contender fight for the middleweight division. Initial thoughts?
I'm ready for Izzy wants Darren Till. I want Darren Till to fight Izzy. I think it's gonna be a really good fight. Just hopefully I don't know a lot about Vettori, but
Vettori. He's the Italian dream, Marvin Vettori. He has taken Israel Adesanya to split decision. He almost has a win, and if you ask him, he beat him. So he's very confident in his abilities. He thinks he's already beaten Adesanya. He wants a rematch. Adesanya laughs hysterically when, you tell him Vettori thinks he won that fight. But it was split decision. I mean, one bad judge and Izzy, loses. Vettori, moves up the rankings. And he's went on a 4-fight win streak ever since, beating Ferreira, Sanchez, Robertson, and Jack Hermanson in his last outing. Both men seem to go to decision here lately. Till was a pretty good finisher, but after getting TKO'd, pretty much twice in a row to Woodley and Masvidal, he's kind of been a decision machine and not very active.
I forgot all about that. Tyrone Woodley fought Darren Till because it was such a that was completely UFC's fault. They pushed him out there and they were like, "You're going to take the belt away from him."
He beat Cerrone, then they threw him in there with Wonder Boy, and he squeaked out the decision to Wonder Boy, and then threw him straight into the fire. And when Tyrone Woodley was in his prime in 2018, and he just got dominated.
If you remember that entrance between Darren Till and Wonder Boy.
Oh, no, I definitely don't. What was that?
Greatest entrance of all. They sung his song.
Yep. They were in Liverpool, England.
It was beautiful. That's when I became a fan of Darren Till.
Darren Till's walkout's really good. When he walked out against Whitaker, there was no fans, and Till said, "My theme song and entrance is for the fans," so he walked out to no music. Probably entrance of the year. It was pretty awesome. No music. It was a great entrance. And then Robert Whitaker walked out to Roy Jones Jr. Won't Be Stopped.
Great song
great besides song. When Till walks out to no music, and then it kind of looks ridiculous. It was a great song back in 2003 or whatever.
Rampage used it a lot.
Yeah. Well, Rampage, that was a couple years later. But Till, great entrance. Vettori. This is probably going decision. The winner needs a finish, and then they need to call out Adesanya, and they will get the title shot. I think Adesanya will fight either man.
100%. If Darren Till wins, like that's he's getting an immediate championship fight. I'm not. Vettori probably do the same thing, but I'm ready for Darren Till to go out there and win. Hopefully, he gets a great finish. But yeah, I'm really excited about this fight.
Yeah. So Till Vettori or Whitaker Gastelum, who's the next fight night, is in number one contender territory, but Adesanya doesn't want to fight Whitaker or Gastelum. Wants to fight Till. Probably would fight Vettori if Vettori squeaks out. So very interesting. If this was if Adesanya didn't have an opinion, Whitaker or Gastelum would definitely be the number one contender with a win. But it seems like Till's the man. All he has to do is squeak out a win. Yeah. So who you going with? What's your prediction? Till decision?
Till by knockout. He knows he needs to
Needs a big win.
Yeah, he knows he needs to get a win.
I think Vettori's gonna be good enough. I think he goes decision. I think Till wins decision. I don't think it's gonna be a firework main event. But neither men kind of don't produce fireworks in their fights. I think Vettori's latest decision win was a little more exciting, but I think they're gonna neutralize each other. It's gonna be an interesting fight. I'm going Till by decision.
Yeah.
This card has also a bunch of no-name Wikipedias on it, so let's go down the list here. The co-main event is Arnold Allen versus Sadiq Youssef. You know these fighters?
I know. I've seen Sadiq fight. I don't know.
Yeah, Sadiq's on a roll. He's a contenders guy, and then he's been 4-0 in the UFC after the contender fight, and he won the contender fight as well. So 5 fights in the UFC pretty much. Got some TKOs in there. He's on a roll.
Yeah. I see damn, the third fight. Ooh, so nobody has Wikipedias.
Yeah. Arnold Allen though is also on a roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak. Both men are on undefeated in the UFC. Really good co-main event. I can't tell you anything about either gentleman, but really good co-main event just by looking at the records. So Sadiq.
Yeah.
Sadiq. Yeah. I don't think I've seen Arnold Allen fight. Let me see his record. I just looked through it, but he's beaten Gilbert Melendez. I don't remember that at all. In July 2019.
Was that Gilbert Melendez's comeback fight?
Comeback, yeah. I believe so. He was a little chunky.
Yeah.
Just lost decision. I don't remember it being that impressive.
I just remember being sad. I remember just being sad.
Gilbert, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he beat Nick Lentz. Nick Lentz retired. He has vision problems, so wasn't a real Nick Lentz either when he fought him. So kind of, not the most impressive victories over Gilbert Melendez and Nick Lentz. Both people just kind of over the hill. Nick Lentz retired after that fight, I do believe. So going Sadiq.
Yeah, that was definitely. I'm pretty sure that was Gilbert Melendez's comeback fight, which is kind of sad because he used to be the number one lightweight.
Bad man.
I remember when he had the Bellator belt, and also
Strike Force.
Strike Force, yeah, he was just Strike Force, and also he went out there to fight Chin Aoki, came from Japan to fight him.
Yep. And he completely neutralized him, took him to decision. But if he'd have been a little more aggressive, he'd have probably KO'd Aoki. But played it safe. Aoki was like a mystical, unicorn fighter then. He could pull out a submission out of the hat at any time.
Melendez just being safe and precautious. Yeah,
super safe. Scott Coker probably told me, you can't lose this fight, man. This is like the interpromotional fight. You can't be losing it. So, he beat you in Aoki. But yeah, he had wars with Josh Thompson. Gilbert Melendez, straight legend, man. And Strike Force, amazing fights. Came to the UFC, hit some hard times, got popped for PEDs later in his career. He was slowing down. I don't think he was a PED for life fighter, but, later in his career, I think he was like, man, just can't compete these younger dudes anymore. Probably dabbled, got popped, came back, lost to Arnold Allen, and then retired, I think. Next fight, 2 no Wikipedias, like you said. What are those names? I don't know. This must be Dana White contenders fights. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this no Wikipedia names in the middle of the card.
Also, it's going to be on a prime time on a ABC.
ABC, yeah.
So those free fights, those free fight cards are usually like not the biggest names. They're just like, cool, let's just throw these guys out there.
Yeah, it should be though, because it's prime time. You want to get new fans. So, they're expecting Till and Vettori to probably put on a pretty good show.
Mm-hmm.
I would have, Whitaker and Gastelum would have been a much better main event for ABC. I think they're gonna go at it pretty hard. So you want to skip this middleweight fight? Do you know anything about Doctor?
Not at all.
Or
Not at all. I don't know anything
Riff?
about him.
I don't either. I don't know what's going on with that fight. Middleweight, we got Julian Marquez versus Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey's been around a long time.
Surprisingly, I'm really shocked that Sam Alvey, because he was really competitive. Like,
yeah,
he used to fight like 5 or 6 times a year.
And he's a guy who will lose 4 rounds and then knock you out in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm. With a smile on his face.
With a smile on his face the whole time, just thinking, I just got to hit you one time. Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez, pretty entertaining guy. He goes for finishes. He's a finisher. He's only lost a decision. All his wins are TKO or submission. He does not win by decision. So Sam Alvey is in trouble, I think. I'm going with Marquez.
Sam Alvey's so old. Like,
he's 34, but he looks like he's 40. He's on a horrible losing streak. Horrible.
That's what I'm looking at right now. The first thing caught my attention.
In the UFC.
The first time, what caught my attention was that Sam Alvey's fought King of the Cage.
Mm-hmm. He's been around a while.
Yeah, like, man, Sam Alvey's definitely had a pretty
I remember watching, if you scroll down to MFC, I watched all those Sam Alvey fights in MFC when he was the middleweight champion, and he would lose. You see this 5th round knockout, 4th round knockout. He lost all those rounds until the knockout. He wasn't winning any of these fights until he'd get the knockout.
He looked like he dominated pretty well against in MFC.
Yeah, he did, but I'm telling you, he didn't win a round. I don't think he would lose the fight and then just knock him out in the 4th, 5th round and defend his belt with a smile on his face. It was so funny.
The first time I think I saw Sam Alvey fight was he had a really close fight with Rashad Evans. And I think I want to say that was probably Rashad Evans' last fight. He might have had one more. I think he got KO'd. Rashad.
Yeah, you might be right. Let's just go to Rashad Evans. We ain't got nothing else to do. Yeah, he fought Anthony Smith after Sam Alvey.
Yeah.
Got KO'd. Yeah. If you can't beat Sam Alvey, time to retire. But he is a threat, though. He has that one-punch knockout. Going Marquez. Marquez coming to finish. Sam Alvey better be ready.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this fight. Next fight, women's strawweight. Nina Ansaroff. Amanda Nunes' baby mama. She just had a kid, so Mama Ansaroff coming back. And she's fighting Mackenzie Dern. This is a pretty good fight. Both of them mamas. Mama Mackenzie took a break, had a baby. Has came back and won a fight since then, though, so she's back on the winning trail. And Ansaroff, this is her comeback after pregnancy fight.
I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Dern. She didn't have the greatest start to UFC since she kept missing weight, which I was very upset at her.
She's a very big strawweight. She keeps cutting weight. This is a strawweight fight. And it seems like she's got it reeled in now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she did miss. She missed weight also, but in her pre-UFC days, she missed weight all the time too. And then missed weight at UFC 224. That was a catch weight. And then has been on the straight and narrow ever since. She's lost to Amanda Ribas. Ribas, peppered her up. She's a really fast striker. And then she took a break. I think that's when she took a break, had a baby, came back. Been on a win streak, looking good. Yeah, I'm going with Dern.
Yeah.
Be tough. Ansaroff was looking good before the pregnancy. Then she hit a loss, and then I guess decided to take that break. But Dern's in her prime. Ansaroff is an older 35. Yeah. Dern's in her prime. Dern's a jiu-jitsu, world champion, master. Has beat Gabby Garcia. I think the only person to ever beat Gabby Garcia in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competition.
Really? She beat Gabby Garcia?
She beat Gabby Garcia to win the gold medal in whatever championship that was. Yeah, she's pretty sure she's the only one to do it. But yeah, I've watched that on YouTube. You look it up. It's pretty funny because Gabby Garcia is a giant and Dern is not. But Dern, I think she just wears her out and then I think beats her with points. She doesn't submit her. I think just beats her with points. But yeah, Dern's grappling off the chain. She's gonna get her to the ground and gonna get the win, in my opinion.
Mackenzie Dern doesn't have the best hands, but for some reason, when she does hit you,
she hits hard. Yeah.
Feel it.
Yeah, she's a hard hitter. So yeah, she's turned into a hard hitter. If he gets to the ground, you are in trouble. Gold medal winner in jiu-jitsu. Welterweight, the first fight of the night, Mike Perry, Daniel Rodriguez. Always entertaining when Mike Perry fights. He's fighting D-Rod Rodriguez. I don't know what to think of this fight. It's going to be fireworks, I'm sure.
I think last time Mike Perry fought, he just brought his girlfriend out there to coach him.
Yep.
I remember you texted me and was like, we'll see Mike Perry in Bellator. Like,
yeah, I thought that was it. I thought he had lost his rocker. This is it. He's going to Bellator. But he beat Mickey Gall then, and then he came back and fight Tim Means and lost again. So he's back on the losing ways. D-Rod's coming off of a loss. If Perry loses this one, he's definitely probably getting cut. I mean, he has had a salty UFC run for someone so entertaining.
Just yeah, and it also seems like I'm surprised he's still in the UFC and the UFC just hasn't cut him because he's been getting in so much trouble.
Right. Yeah, he has problems. That's all I'm gonna say is he has problems outside of the octagon.
Like he hasn't. It's not John Jones trouble, but
yeah, but
I feel like
a little.
If he wasn't an entertaining fighter, he definitely would have been cut.
Mm-hmm. And he was a guy who went to jail and then got out of jail and then like somehow made it to the UFC. So very interesting story. And those got money and kind of he's a little off his rocker. That's all I'm gonna
say. That's the origin story for like every old school UFC fighter.
Yeah.
I think Take Abbott was like, if I wouldn't be fighting, I'll be in prison right now.
I'd be in jail. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going D-Rod. I think he kicks Mike Perry out of UFC.
I'm going for Mike Perry. I like him a lot. He is off his rocker. I like him a lot. Mainly, I want to see this just because I really want to see Darren Till and Mike Perry fight. They have great back and forth.
He should have made that fight. Why didn't they make that fight? It was ridiculous.
Darren Till
would have been so hyped.
Darren Till's just too high ranked. It's just
he was like closing into the top 10, but there's sometimes you just got to make a fight. Just got to do it. I mean, it's kind of similar to remember when Dan Hardy debuted, won like 2 fights and then called out the Irish hand grenade?
Marcus Davis.
Marcus Davis was like ranked 3. He was about to get a title shot. Dan Hardy comes in, knocks out like two cans, I think. One of those was a good win, but it was like an aging Japanese fighter. I can't remember. I think it was the guy who heel hooked Anderson Silva.
Rio Shonen?
I think so. I think Dan Hardy beat him by decision and then was like, Marcus Davis. Dan Hardy's there was no ranking system back then, but in the sheer dog kind of forums, everybody kind of had Marcus Davis like ranked 2 or 3. I might be overshooting it, but it's definitely top 5. He was working on a title shot in welterweight. Dan Hardy comes in unranked, calls out Marcus Davis, says his website looks like the Lucky Charms box exploded. There's just sometimes where you got to make a fight happen, and that fight happened. He beat Marcus Davis and then, had a number 1 contendership fight and was fighting for the title. So sometimes you just got to but that's what the ranking system kind of messes up these days. is fun fights like Mike Perry and Darren Till would have been a real fun fight.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where you just got to make a fight happen.
To think if Mike Perry just snuffs Darren Till.
Yeah, and he's right there. You're right back in the title shot. That's what old school UFC was like. It was awesome. Fun fights all the time back in the day because there was no ranking system. One guy just called out another guy, and then it was on.
You remember? It was this dude that talked his way into the UFC because he kept saying that he beat Daniel Cormier in the gym.
Yeah. Well, he took the fight. That was just a couple years ago. That was Pat. Who is that? Pat Cummins.
Yeah.
He was working at Starbucks. Rashad Evans pulled out of the Daniel Cormier fight. There was a ranking system here though, but it was because it was like a 2-day notice fight. And he was, winning fights in the regional scene. I think he was like undefeated at the time in the regional scene. He sent Dana White a video, I think, like, hey, I used to destroy Daniel Cormier in the training room. I made him cry one day or something. Total bull. And, that he was probably the 20th guy to wrestle Cormier in the training room that day or something. Wrestling training is brutal. But, yeah, then he worked his way into that fight. Daniel Cormier dealt with him. Pat Cummins is funny, though. Pat Cummins is awesome. I like him. I don't think he's in UFC now, though.
No.
He had a run though. He kept giving him fights. The preliminary card is a mismatch of a lot of no-name Wikipedias. We had Jim Miller. You want to talk about that?
Let's go, Jim Miller.
Let's go, Jim Miller. Old, rusty veteran, man. Jim Miller was once upon a time like number 2 in the world at lightweight. Before, the absorbed the WEC, Ben Henderson came over, gave him a loss. And then he just kind of back and forth, kind of got a salty record now. But he's a true veteran, been around for a long time.
Yeah. He's been fighting forever. I like his brother, Dan Miller, a lot too.
Dan Miller, yeah. Dan Miller was awesome. Love the Miller brothers. But
I remember he broke my heart. He broke my heart because Dan Miller TKO'd Takanori Gomi at UFC 200. I was very sad about that.
Was that?
Yeah.
Jim Miller?
Yeah, Jim Miller.
Yeah.
It was UFC 200.
Sure was, yep. Oh, he starched him fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was after he lost to Diego Sanchez. So that was a big win, put him back in the win column for Dan Miller. And he just fought everybody, man. Poirier, Pettis, Hooker, Alves, Lauzon, Michael Chiesa, Donald Cerrone, Pat Healy, Joe Lauzon, Nate Diaz, Melvin Gillard, Ben Henderson, Gleison Tebow. He's fought everybody.
He fought Dwayne Ludwig.
Yeah, Dwayne Bang.
Matt Danzig.
Ray Maynard, Matt Wyman. The list goes on. Frankie Edgar. He's just, man, Jim Miller has fought everybody. What a career. Never was champion, but, man, he had a heck of a career. He's fighting Joe Shilecki. Don't know who he is. Doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I'll be paying attention, though. Got to learn these no Wikipedias. So many fights these days. Too many Wikipedia pages.
Jim Miller has straight up pride record too. 32-15.
Yeah. How old is he? Jim Miller, 37. Man. Been doing it a while. That's all I got to talk about for this card, man. You want to talk about anything else?
You know a little bit about Scott Holzman?
Not really. He was a guy, I remember seeing him on the regional scene. Let me see. He used to fight in XFC. Yeah. He had a really good run in XFC, won the lightweight championship, defended it, and then kind of joined the UFC. And he's had some pivotal losses. Beat Jim Miller and lost to Beneil Dariush out. He's pretty good. He needs to string together some big wins though to make a dent in the UFC. But that's all we got for this card. Till versus Vettori. That's gonna be a wrap. A whole bunch of prelims that we're just not gonna talk about, but we'll catch them. We'll watch them. If anybody stands out, Creole will have some stuff to talk about for them in the reaction show tomorrow. Creole, what's your plug?
Cool. I'll be on MMA Pod.
On the Twitter.
Yep, I'll be on Twitter. So come say hello, drop by. I'll be doing the live
tweeting.
Doing the live tweeting.
Tomorrow's reaction show will be UFC 260. My bad. Next Saturday is Till versus Vettori. Tonight is the big heavyweight championship fight in Ngannou Miocic. So join Creole on Twitter. Tweet him up if you watch this show early. I'm sure you're not. We don't have that many listeners yet. But if you made it this far, subscribe, like, follow our Twitter.
Calf Kick MMA Pod.
Calf Kick MMA Pod on the Twitter, on the YouTube. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify. That's about as far as we've gotten so far. Working on the Apple Podcast, though. Sooner or later, we're going to be there. Creole, any final words?
Let's go. Let's go, France Nagawa. Please win.
Stipe, who's going to fight John Jones? Is John Jones ever going to fight Derek Lewis? Will Tyrone Woodley make a comeback? Sean O'Malley's off his rockers. Almeida, he's there too. Tonight, 260. Creole. We'll catch you tomorrow. Reaction. That's all I got. All right. Bye, Creole.
Later.